So it's warmed up a little bit, but it's still definitely not too bad. Yesterday was pretty cool. I keep trying to monitor the temperature. It just seems like this summer has been so much cooler. We've had some really extreme hot days, but then it cools off and it's pleasant. It's been a pretty easy summer to endure, which I've talked about quite a bit, trying to endure summer without an air conditioner. I think last year I would come up every evening from putting the chickens away and my shirt would just be soaked. Well, so basically I would have to have 2 shirts a day. So Carolyn's decided to break down and buy some stakes. She was using cedar sticks, but they kept breaking on her, so these were only 20 bucks and she'll be able to use these for the rest of her life. Nice little thing to have. Use some material to tie up her tomato plants. While I'm here, I would like to talk about what we do to keep bugs and stuff away from our plants, our garden. We do 2 things. One, we use miracles. Marigolds it's a plant. And if you plant those around your garden, it'll keep out the Japanese beetles and all those things. The only problem we have is those little green worms that grow on your tomato plants. Unfortunately, Carolyn forgot to plant marigolds this year. So we do have Japanese beetles, so we had to buy a Japanese beetle trap because they were really eating up our green beans. But now we remembered that we should have planted marigolds. It's on her list. She's been making a little checklist. But it was pretty incredible yesterday. They were just swarming this thing. So they fall in to the bag here, and the bag is pretty full. So that took care of that problem almost instantly. The other thing we do is we put cayenne pepper spray on the plants. They don't want to eat that. I've talked about cayenne pepper, and we use that for everything. Mouse deterrent. We put that in our engine of our truck. So when we were in Arizona camping, to keep the mice out, we put that up underneath our house when we put the insulation up there. Keeps the mice out. And then we run a little radio to keep the deer out. Showed you that the other day. And then we have our trail cam. Trail cam's night vision is all foggy, so the only thing I can do is see a picture. I can't really see what's in the picture. So that's how we take care of our plants, because I've been talking to you about the differences between preppers who discuss SHTF and how stockpiling everything, and being on a off-grid property, being self-sustaining. You know, using cayenne, you can grow cayenne, and so you can dehydrate that, make your own powder out of it or your own liquid out of it, whatever you want to do. And miracles are easy to reseed every year. Marigolds, I should say. I keep saying it wrong. I even spelled it wrong the other day. So this is the self-sustaining kind of stuff I talk about. I actually heard a prepper say that you're going to need to stockpile bug repellent for your gardens. Well, how much? I mean, how much money do you have to spend to be a stockpiler? What I try to do is improvise and make things that work, and we don't spend much money at all. It's, I think, a better solution. So this video, I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the video. I'm going to make a this or that video. You got my book of notes here. So one of the things somebody brought up, I keep talking about addictions. You need to get off the addictions. Our addiction is coffee. We got a bunch of coffee that we've stockpiled. That way, if we go to the store and all of a sudden there's no coffee, we can wean ourselves off of it. Well, somebody said, well, I don't agree with you. You need to just be able to go cold turkey and then have your stockpile so you can barter with, and in case you need a boost of energy. And I really got thinking about this. The more I thought about it, the more I thought, man, these preppers have people convinced of this romantic lifestyle after SHTF happens. Well, they don't call it SHTF. Stuff hits the fan. Just replace stuff with another word, because it's going to be so pleasant. I really get this sense that everybody thinks the whole community is going to come together and we're all going to work together, just, you know, like we do now, right? No, there's going to be a lot of bad times in my mind, and so I'm doing things completely different. First of all, I can't imagine that coffee is going to be the most valuable commodity that they're going to want to barter with. I mean, think about this. Some guy comes by your property, he's got 2 kids and a wife, They haven't taken a shower in months, haven't eaten in days. The last meal they had was probably a dead bird on the side of the road. And they come up to you and say, okay, I can do something for you. I don't know what it is, but they got some skill that you need. And they're going to say, yeah, and we'll trade you coffee. We want coffee for this skill. Coffee is going to be the last thing on their mind. You're not going to be able to give that stuff away. They're going to want food and water and medicines, whether it's natural remedy medicines or you actually have, you know, like a Tylenol or something. These are the things people are going to want. So these preppers who are telling you, oh no, they're going to want coffee and all these nice little niceties and cigarettes. No, they're not going to want any of that. You need 4 things to survive: food, water, shelter, and defense. That's it. That's what you need. And you got to work every day to do that. The second thing he said about coffee is it's going to give you energy. You're going to need energy. Well, no, you're not going to need energy because you need to get off the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates is what's depleting you of your energy. You eat something, you burn the sugar real quick, so you get this immense boost, and then you drop. And think about it, you always get tired after lunch. Why do you get tired after lunch? Well, you've eaten a bunch of carbohydrates, peanut butter sandwich, whatever. So you get that sugar from the carbohydrates. You're all ramped up for about an hour, and all of a sudden you just die. You need a nap. So you go to the machine and get coffee. Well, or you could just eat carnivorous like we do, and it gives you all the energy you need all day long. You could eat 1 meal a day probably and be okay. So eggs, chicken, if you can afford refined steak, beef, red meat, that's great. That's how you're going to get your energy. We got to think smarter. People who stockpile in rice and beans, carbohydrates, and you're going to crash all the time. Since we've went on the carnivorous diet, last year Carolyn could get up and down to the garden about twice a day. That was about the max that she could do, and it just wore her out, you know, when we were eating carbohydrates all the time. And she just hated this property because it's on a big hill. You can see the house, it's way up there on the hill. This year she's been on a carnivorous diet, and she's been going up it, but 12, 15 times a day was what she said yesterday. She carries buckets of water. Remember, she does her laundry in those tubs up there. And so she drains the water into a bucket and she carries it down so we don't waste water. That way we don't have to run the well pump as much. It saves on gas and electricity and all that. I know somebody's going to say you need a rain collection. We don't get enough rain in the summertime to really make a difference. We'd have to have bundles and bundles of IBC tanks just full of water to get us through the summer. So that's just not reasonable. But if we can use water that we already have available without running the well, works great. Somebody said, what are you going to do when the housing market crashes and your value of your property and your house depreciates? Well, first of all, I don't care. My little tiny house isn't worth anything. I built it for $5,000 and I got the property for $4,200. I'm never going to sell. Even if I decide, you know what, I'm going to quit this lifestyle, I'm going to go get a job and I'm going to get an apartment or whatever, I don't think I'll ever get rid of this. I mean, there's just no reason to. But I can understand that people are concerned about the housing market crash. It's getting ready to crash, and I think everybody knows it. I'm not going to get into financial expertise and all that. I mean, I understand it quite well, but I'm not going to get into it because it's just not what this channel's about. So people aren't going to want to buy houses. Rent is going up, so it's all over the place. Well, if you're in the market to sell your home, you better do it right now. The higher the inflation goes, the more they're going to raise the interest rates. Then we're going to head into a recession, which means nobody's making any money. So no money, higher interest rates, nobody's going to buy. Do it now. Then what you need to do is downsize your life. I heard someone say that on YouTube the other day, that you need to downsize your life. And I thought, yes, exactly. Get yourself a tiny house. Get yourself a piece of property, $4,200. And I know somebody's going to say, you can't find that kind of property. Yes, you can. I'm not like, you know, somebody special. Carolyn looked for about 3 or 4 months and she found 2 or 3 pieces of property under $10,000. You can find it. You just got to look, and you got to be willing to move. So sell your house, find yourself a cheap piece of property right now, move, get on the property. Look at Tennessee, look at Missouri, Arkansas. Then get yourself a tiny house. Now I built mine, we built it for $5,000, and it's solid, it's a brick. Now, somebody's gonna say, well, I can't build my house. I don't have those kind of skills. Well, neither did I, first of all. But I did it anyways, and I'm really proud of it. But okay, so you're too scared or whatever to build your own tiny house. You can go to Home Depot and buy those little sheds. I don't know, you can buy them. Well, I looked at some a while back, maybe a couple of years ago. You can buy them anywhere from these smaller ones, $2,000 to $5,000. So about the same price in my house. Now you can get these really big ones, and of course they'll go up in price. So here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna sell your house, you're probably not gonna make a lot of money off of it. You're gonna pay off your loan, and by the time you get your loan paid off, there may be a few $1,000s left. And that's what you use that money for, is to get yourself established on a piece of property like this. Somebody's gonna say something about taxes. I always say, well, my taxes are I think $24 a year for the property, so I can always pay taxes. I can have cash laying around, pay the taxes. Find yourself a small place that's not hard for security. The bigger your place, the more security you're gonna have. 1.5 acres. And I don't have to watch the property. I can see almost everything that needs to be seen within eye shot of the house here. So, and then you just start canning your food. After you get yourself established, canning your food. I just got an email from somebody today, and she talked about she just got a canner and she just started using it. She thinks it's really cool. You know, the science behind it, and the pressures and the temperatures and all that. So it's not hard to do. The canners from Walmart, the Presto canners from Walmart, has instructions. Just read the instructions thoroughly a few times. And if I can find one, I'll put a Presto canner. I don't think you can find the one you can at Walmart, but I have a little product list here. You just click the screen here. It'll pop up and be right down on this one corner or the other. It says product list, click that, and the canner will be there. So if you'll check out the super thanks button down there, I'd really appreciate it. So I hope I can inspire you to be ready so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.